gentlemen and families, welcome to Opechee and Laconia. Welcome to the land of the Abenaki. Today we celebrate a once-in-a-lifetime ceremony. We in Laconia recognize the great honor to be chosen as the location in New Hampshire for this beautiful Indian statue, the 48th of the Trail of the Whispering Giants. We are delighted to have you join with us for this dedication ceremony. This gift for New Hampshire today is right here in Opechee at Winnipesaukee. This happy event starts with the sculptor, Wolfe Toth, who you will meet later in the program. It's his story and his love of the Indian that led up to the remarkable program. This remarkable program, the Trail of the Whispering Giants. By way of introduction to today's dedication, I'd like to tell you about Wolfe Toth. It's his story that leads to today's ceremony. Peter Toth fled with his family from Hungary to America as a young boy when the communists stole his father's orchards. He spent the first 11 years in European countries. It was then that he became interested in the American Indian. His family later emigrated to America, where they settled in Ohio. His early personal experiences with injustice fostered in him a deep sense of kinship with the Native Americans. As most young men do, Peter began to dream. He wanted to do something to honor the American Indians and raise the nation's consciousness to be aware of their plight. At the same time, Peter wanted to give America a gift in exchange for the home it had offered him and his family right here in America. Peter Toth, a legend in his own name, is making that dream a reality. His objective, to honor the Indian through the creation of at least one monument in each of the 50 states. And that is nearing completion. This monument, this Indian behind me at Opechee, is the 48th such monument to be erected. It is his hope that through this monument, people will remember that the Indians were and are a proud race of people who inhabited America long before the arrival of Europeans. His sculptures provide a means for preserving the memory that has too often been clouded, destroyed, or distorted. They were the kings of this land. They were the owners, said Peter, and I love America. It's a great country. I feel it is the greatest country in the world. Even so, he believes stories of the Indians have unfairly represented them to be ignorant, bloodthirsty savages. It is his hope that the whisperings of these giants will soften our hearts to form a society of true brotherhood. The log from which this Opechee Park Whispering Giant has been carved was a 30-foot red oak tree weighing 24,000 pounds. Transportation and erection of the log on its concrete base was accomplished entirely by volunteer labor. Supplies and materials were donated by local and area businesses and individuals. Peter donated his talents and time. He earns no profit from any of these statues. He lives simply with his wife Kathy on a day-to-day basis, selling his book Indian Giver and some of the small sculptures which are on exhibition, which you may see after this program, and not worrying about the future. Would you join me in a great big hand for Wolfe Toth? Hank, are you in circulation?
We'll get this animal squared away here.
Whoa!
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we'd like to introduce the Shaw Brothers. Shaw Brothers.
They do look like they could be related.
Well, take credit for that, huh?
I'd like to. Oh, it looks like it could be Fosberg. You sure there's not a Shaw in the family?
Very nice, Hank. Very nice. You know, Ron and I'm Rick, were born in New Hampshire and grew up in these beautiful areas here, and they have a great deal of a very special place in our hearts. And we sort of grew up with some of the Indian lore of this area, and we learned way back somewhere that Winnipesaukee translates to the smile of the Great Spirit. And certainly, as you look around this area, you can appreciate the love and the reverence that the American Indians had for this land. And I'd like to do a song that talks about my love for this area. It's called New Hampshire Naturally, and I think it would be something that would be appropriate in view of this occasion. New Hampshire Naturally. There's a place I know where the purple lilacs grow and the sparkling rivers rush down to the sea, where snow-capped mountains rise high into the clear blue sky, and the seasons come and go so naturally. Oh, New Hampshire, New Hampshire is where I want to be. Oh, New Hampshire, I love New Hampshire naturally. Oh, I love her in the spring when the birds begin to sing, in the winter and the good old summertime. But I think it's in the fall that I love her most of all. New Hampshire's always somewhere in my mind. Oh, New Hampshire, New Hampshire is where I want to be. Oh, New Hampshire, I love New Hampshire naturally. As I sail upon a breeze, hike among the towering trees, or watch an eagle soaring in the sky, wander through a village square, breathe the cool clean mountain air, I know how it feels to be New Hampshire high. Oh, New Hampshire, New Hampshire is where I want to be. Try it. Oh, New Hampshire, I love New Hampshire naturally. I love New Hampshire naturally. I love New Hampshire naturally.
A rather exception to the program. We have a poem that was written and dedicated to the Wolfe. And at this time I'd like to introduce to you Tom McLean.
$1,600 years had passed since the day that Christ was born,
and only primal feet had trod these forest paths now worn. New Hampshire's mountains, lakes, and streams by most men were unknown, and simple copper-colored folk had made this place their home. Nature ruled in regal splendor, primeval beauty seldom seen. Birds and beasts in great abundance made their homes in forests green. The spirit moved o'er Winnipesaukee, sprawling crystal water lake, set against the purple mountains created in the Ice Age wake. The spirit of the sky blue waters, the spirit of the mountains tall, who harmonized all things in nature, designed the beauty of it all. The spirit blessed the simple savage, provided him his needs for life, taught him secrets for survival, strengthened him in times of strife. For centuries, these folks had lived in harmony with the land. They took from it to meet their need, no more, 'twas nature's plan. They saw in creatures of their world some traits of special worth. They showed respect for all of life, who shared their home on earth. And children sat with oldsters around the campfires bright to hear the tales of woodland yore till well into the night. Then came another breed of man from far across the sea to seek amidst the fir and pine new opportunity. He sought to conquer nature, the wilderness to tame, drove out the people of this land and its creatures all the same. He took from nature greedily, gave nothing in return, exploited forest, field, and stream, and bid the future burn. No harmony with nature, no respect, no, not the least. The end that justified the means destroyed both men and beast. The destruction of that culture that endured 2,000 years was accomplished in 2 centuries of tears. Ah yes, 2,000 years have passed since Christ was born that day. Now consequences we must face. Now pipers we must pay. Gone is the beat of the tom-tom. Gone are the dances for rain. Gone is the spirit of nature, to never return again. But wait, in the wind there's a whisper, a sound from out of the past. Could it be that the spirit of ancients is going to return at last? There's a stirring in the treetops and a murmur from high in the hills. There's a sound just over the waters that echoes and tremors and thrills. Could it be that the spirit of nature has returned from the land of the dead to revive in us love of creation and to bury our greed in its stead? What is this giant-like statue that stands in the park by the bay, with a face that resembles the savage that lived here in far yesterday? Just ahead, the face of an Indian, 3 feathers thrust high in the sky, affixed to a concrete abutment. Is there any good reason why? His lips, are they parted to whisper? Is that a glint in his eye that I see? Why do I feel that this statue is trying to say something to me? It's the spirit. He lives in the statue, carved out of the trunk of a tree, and my soul responds in communion from the deepest center of me. I'm not dead. I'm alive, I assure you, and this land is part of me still. I only need hands and feet, my child, and Indians to do my will. Now you have become my Indian. The change took place in your heart, and I will never forsake you, and from you I'll never depart. Love this land, all my people, the forests, the hills, and the streams. Have respect for all my creation. Be done with insidious schemes. There are those who still seek to destroy me, but their power is on the wane. For yearning now stirs in your hearts for harmonious life again. Thirst no longer, my children, for money. Be done with possessions and greed. Restore all my land and its creatures, and you will be blessed indeed. Great Spirit, yes, I can hear you. I can feel your presence so near. You can count on me doing my best. I swear by all I hold dear. I will rally all of my brothers. Together we'll turn the tide. What power on earth can defeat us when spirit and man coincide?
Thank you very much, John. That was really beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, last January, we in the city of Laconia was most fortunate to get a new mayor. Not that that is anything new, but the mayor we have is right down on the street. He's right in our own league. And believe me, he certainly has worked for this particular program. Without any more bouquets, ladies and gentlemen, Armand Bolek, our mayor in Laconia.
I would like to take this opportunity at this time to announce to you people, anyone that would like a copy of the poem that was just read by John will be available over in this area after the ceremonies to purchase in a donation to help defray the cost of buying shrubbery to enhance the statue. So we have 100 copies available for anyone that would. It's a giant Indian, a defiant one. In Indian language, that is Kiwa Wa Abenaki Kinaba. And I want to take this time to thank everyone who sent names in. We got 48 names that came to my office, and it was a difficult choice. So at this time, I'd like to go on with the program. Kathy Toth, ladies and gentlemen, friends and children, my wife and family. Today we gather for a great occasion. We gather for a dedication that is the only one of its kind in New Hampshire. And as you all know, it is for the whispering giant that stands with us here today. A sculpture of an Abenaki Indian that once lived on the very land that we stand on today. And this Indian was carved from a New Hampshire red oak. The person responsible for this sculpture was born in Hungary. At the age of 9, the Russians took away his home and everything he had. He was able to escape from Hungary, and after 2 years arrived in Akron, Ohio. He worked in a machine shop and kept thinking of the way he was forced off his land, and was able to relate that the same thing happened to the American Indian. He then decided he would try to honor the American Indian, and he said, and I quote, "I will make one sculpture of an Indian in each of the 50 states to honor them." He has made an Indian sculpture for 44 states. This is the 48th sculpture, with only 5 more states to go. He is a very remarkable man. He is one of the most unselfish persons you will ever meet. It is my great honor as mayor of the city of Laconia, on behalf of the city council, the people of the city of Laconia, and the Lakes region, as well as the state of New Hampshire, to introduce this man to you, ladies and gentlemen, Peter Wolfe Toth.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'm overwhelmed, to say the least. As I look out in front of me, I don't know how many people are here, but perhaps I would say well over 1,000, maybe 2, maybe more. And I'm, like I said, overwhelmed that you would all come out to honor the American Indian. And of course, that's the main reason why you're all here, I believe. I have so many thanks to say that I hope I won't be too long, but I feel that I have to say these thanks to everyone. Of course, I just want to say that the Great Spirit smiled down on us today. First it was beautiful and sunny, and it was a bit hot. Perhaps a lot of us was a little too hot, so he cooled it down for us. So we have a little more shade now, thanks to the clouds. Well, I just want to say, to continue, this land, the beautiful Granite State, was once occupied by the Abenaki-Wabanaki Indian Confederacy. There was different Indian tribes, some smaller and some more major. Now these Indians, they lived over here prior to the white man for perhaps thousands of years. And of course, these were the Coos Indians. Forgive me if I don't pronounce their names correctly, but they were the Coos Indians, the Massabasic Indians, the Ossipee Indians, Winnisquam Indians. Of course, you probably know the lake, that's the name of it, and also the river. The Conocook Indians, the Nashu Indians. Now, because of disease and war, atrocities, most of these Indians are gone from this beautiful land. Yet, some of them are still with us, in physical or in spirit. Most of them are known by the rivers, lakes, and even towns named after them. They are memories of time past. Well, just to perhaps add a few more words, and the eloquent words that was said before me, I don't think I can improve on them for sure, but let me try to add a couple more of my personal words here. You know, I've made these statues to raise a nation's conscience to the American Indians, because they certainly, I feel, are the most deserving people. And we can certainly learn a great deal from them, because they have, this was their country, and they certainly, as the poem said, they lived with nature, and they took from nature, and they gave back to nature. And like I said, we certainly can learn a great deal from them. You know, it was, of course, as this was said earlier too, this was my dream, to make the statues for each of the 50 states. And so far, through the blessing of the Great Spirit, I'm coming closer to the conclusion of my Trail of the Whispering Giants in the 50 states. However, that will not be the end. After I finish the 50 states, it is my intention to finish the entire North American continent. That is to say, I'm going to have at least one statue for each of the Canada's provinces. Thank you. And also, I'm going to make statues down in Mexico. And after that, of course, I hope to accomplish this by the year 2000, hopefully earlier. But obstacles tend to come in our way, as some of you may recall. We had a little obstacle over here, perhaps a little controversy. And I just wanted to kind of clear the air about that. Frankly, I enjoy controversy, and thanks to the ones that kind of gave us a little hard time about the location of the statue, there was more knowledge about the American Indians, and inadvertently they helped to raise the nation's, or at least Laconia's, conscience to the plight of the American Indians, and I thank them for that. You know, I don't want to go on too long. However, I just wanted to say that, you know, I'm the creator of this statue. I made the statue essentially with a 5-pound hammer and chisel. That's my basic tool, although I do use other tools. Over 90% is done with a hammer and chisel. And I made the statue. This is my creation. However, I feel it's so important that I must at this time mention the tremendous effort and work that went into this by so many people. You know, this is a community, this was and is a community project. And so many people made this possible. For one, of course, your hard-working Mayor Armin Bolduc, and he certainly deserves a hand. He's not a man who's afraid to get his hands dirty. I can tell you that from first-hand experience. He even helps out sometimes with the suit on, and he's probably not afraid to get his suit dirty too. And he certainly, I must tell you that he has pursued this project from the beginning, and he has pursued it with a great deal of vigor, and he wanted to make sure that the statue would be here, and he was willing to cross any barriers or do anything to make sure that Laconia, the citizens of Laconia, would benefit from this statue. And for him, I'm very thankful. Now, of course, there are a number of other individuals, and I'm going to try to run down the list if I may, and please bear with me, who has been tremendously helpful. Even from the beginning, Kathy, my very attractive and hard-working wife, Kathy Toth, she certainly has done. Thank you. You know, people often ask her, what do you do all day? And believe me, she works hard, and she does a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes, something that you usually don't see. And then I get all the credit. But I sure thank Kathy for putting up with me. She's been traveling with me. We've been married for almost 7 years, and she certainly has put up with a lot from me. And you know what they say about temperamental artists. That's probably double true for me. But she has put up with me, and I certainly thank her for that. Now, there's also various individuals like Maurice and Bernice Paradise, Mo Paradise. He came up to the mountain, Cobblestone Mountain, at Gunstock. This is where the tree came from. He came up there. He came up not with one bulldozer, but he brought 3 bulldozers up there. It took 2 bulldozers to drag this big tree down the mountain, and one bulldozer to push it. I would hate to have to pay just for the gasoline to fuel those bulldozers, and also the man that he had something like 6 or 7 or perhaps even a dozen men working up there, and of course he was paying them. So this man certainly gave a tremendous amount, and Mo and Bernice, I thank you. Not only did he drag the big log or the tree down the mountainside, but he also shipped it over here, and I had his trailer tied up for a couple months. He was unable to use it, and he came out and helped me with everything, the use of his tools and everything else. So he certainly has been a tremendous asset and a great friend. Now, there's a Bergen Patterson Corporation. They've been tremendous in their help. Bonnet, Page and Stone. I believe that they gave the stone base and so much more. There's Don's Tree Service. He cut this tree down, and he cut it way down to the ground, so we have a beautiful flare, which certainly enhances the statue itself. The Lake Region Construction, of course. Warren Hill and Son, Laconia City Council Chief Bruce Shaney, Dale Gilbert and Son, J&J Printing in Corp, Carl Wrights, Clinton R. Butrick, Kip. He made this beautiful vest for myself and my wife Kathy, and he put a lot of work and money into it. He does not want any money for it, so I certainly thank Kip. Also, you have Chuck and Marcia Peasley. They are my neighbors, and they have put up with me making phone calls from their houses, and they've been awfully good to us. The radio stations in this area, WEMJ, WLNH, they've been very supportive. Also the newspaper, Francis Provin Cole, forgive me if I mispronounce their names over here. Francis Provincial, yes. Wrought Iron Mode, Hank. Hank came out. Hank DeCotto came and sang that beautiful song, Home on the Range. I won't be too shy to admit it kind of brought tears to my eyes. Also, we had the Shawn Brothers, a very sentimental song. I've heard many people telling me that when the radio goes off the air, that's what they listen to, and they were just overwhelmed to have those fine singers over here too. Bart, excellent, beautiful singers. Bart Connors, Mr. Bart has been putting this program together, and he has worked like a mother hen, making sure everyone's name was on here, and I certainly appreciate that. We have the Reverend Beverly Bolden, Shaman Pimi. She came, and all the Indians that came over here and helped us to put this program together. We have Gerard Brunel. He sang the national anthem. He certainly sang it beautifully, and I sure thank you for that. So we have the musical interlude, the Laconia High School Band. Thomas Pinnell, conductor, and thank you for that. They are certainly great. Okay, I hope I'm not missing too many names over here. Okay. Oh yes, Laconia Police Department and Fire Department passing out the programs. Also, I believe that we may have a few extra programs after the show. If any of you would like to have one for keepsake, we made 2,000 of them. I hope that's enough. But I just wanted to say, in closing, I won't prattle on too much longer here. But in closing, I just wanted to say that, people usually ask me when they come over here, they say, well, where are you from? And I usually tell them, well, I'm from Laconia, New Hampshire, and this certainly has been my home for over 2 months now, going on 3 that I have been over here. I had the privilege of living amongst you all, and I must say that I have not found any friendlier folks than you, and I'm going to miss leaving this area. I just also... I've had so many people that invited me over to dinner. Unfortunately, my time is very limited, and I had to decline most people, but I certainly thank you for that. I've had a lot of friends who gave baked goods to us and brought some vegetables from their garden, and I sure thank you for that. That's awfully thoughtful of each and every one of you. I hope that I have not forgotten anyone, and if I have, please forgive me, because I try to go down the list of everyone that's been so thoughtful and friendly towards us. And I will be around here for a short time yet. I'm not leaving today. I still have a few more coats of preservative I have to apply to the statue, but I just want to tell you why I got this microphone over here, that I sure thank you for all your kind support. Thank you very much.
Well taken. We have several people wanted to be remembered or want to have Peter
for the program, and I thought that we always have to do something a little bit more than a sketch. And what I'm about to do is present a painting of your piece of sculpture that's here in Laconia to you. One of the biggest differences is that when I present this to you, you don't have to have a committee decide which wall you're going to hang it on. what that's worth. I don't know what I meant by that. But anyway, I hope you enjoy looking at it. This is for you, and I'm not doing it for me, but I'd like to present this to Peter Toth, today, September 23rd, 1984, from me on behalf of the citizens of Laconia and all of the children of Laconia who are the future of this city and who will probably have the wonder of looking at this for the longest amount of time. Peter, thank you. And I have one quote which is for the young people, and it says, "If you've built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them." Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. I just want to mention, for those of you that have a program, that wonderful painting of the statue is made by Larry, and I sure appreciate that help with that. Also, I was told that I forgot Mr. DeRose Music. They set this microphone system up over here, sound system, and I be sure to thank you for that.
Past president of the Laconia Downtown Association.
The Downtown Association, like everybody in the city, is very, very pleased that Peter came to Laconia, stayed in Laconia, and finished the statue. As a thank you, we'd like to give this to you, Peter, and not just for the statue, but for the dedication and the hard time that appeared to happen here. Some of us thought that maybe the statue was going to be called HUD, but I guess we have a better name. But Peter, from us, thank you very much. We wish you a great deal of success in the next ones that you do, and we sincerely hope you'll come back and visit us.
Thank you, Warren. The next gentleman, Eddie Boulder.
Peter thinks she's going to talk, and she probably would have this straight, but she's not. And she's asked me to do the talking for her. No, Reverend Baldock is sorry.
The Reverend Boulding tells us of Indian Lower.
How happy it makes me to see a large presentation here of our elderly and our very young sitting right in front of them, which in the Indian world is the beginning and the end of all things. From the elderly on through life we learn. It is a great honor to be part of this dedication of this wonderful memorial to the Abenaki Indians. They were...
gentlemen, at this time, as I told you, the Native peoples, they're oral tradition people. We didn't write things in books. We had ways of doing things that were called public. That way, when all the people gathered together, something was done, everybody knew about it. We're here and gathered together today, Indian and non-Indian alike.
Looks like you could be in the Charlie D'Angelo.
What we would like to do on behalf of the Indian community is to dedicate this statue with an honoring song. We would also like to honor Peter and his wife.
Hi, Kathy. Kathy, I was looking at some of the gifts you've received at the ceremony the other day, and of course, the beautiful painting Larry Frakes gave you. And I'm sure in the various states of the Union that you go to, you get gifts. In view of the fact that you're on wheels, how do you store and keep all of these nice gifts that you receive?
Well, right now, it is time to get back to Illinois. Usually we keep everything in storage at my parents' house in Illinois. For the meantime, though, we're just carrying them in our closets, wherever we find room. But before Christmas, we plan to be back, and we'll put them in storage there.
Tell me anything about this nice piece of art that you did for me and my wife.
This Indian statue essentially represents the Chippewa Indians, and it came from the top of the feather of the Indian statue I made over here in Laconia. It's out of red oak. It's a pretty good sturdy statue.
I notice you have a pretty interesting mark that you use to sign your statues. Could you tell me something about that?
Sure. Each of my statues have my mark in the lower right-hand corner, as does my large statue over there. And it represents essentially my initials, but it has pretty well evolved into the pi, mark for the pi, and also for the Jewish symbol of long life and happiness, the high. So that's what it represents.
I see. Thank you, Peter. One last question before I let you get back to your last piece of work there. You've been here in Laconia for, what, 2 to 3 months now, I guess. Is there any special memory or incident that you'll always treasure as you think of the state of New Hampshire and specifically Laconia?
Well, there's many. I have met a lot of fine people over here in Laconia, and I've made a lot of friends, and I'm going to be kind of sad to depart from Opechee Park.
Well, thank you very much, Peter, and continued success as you travel the country.